There are police outside running up and down the street. It is 32 degrees. It's been raining. It has started snowing. All of a sudden, this is starting to feel like a real bad idea. When I was a kid, I got a $100 speeding ticket and had to come to this courthouse to pay the ticket. Oddly enough, the price of a hotel in this city is about $100 a night. Tonight, I'm getting my money back. I'm camping at the courthouse. Before I go on tonight's camp, there are some things I need to do. And the first thing I need to do is put that carpet mat back in that I took out of my van. And to do that, I'm going to need to empty everything out of the back of my van. I haven't permanently attached anything to the floor or walls yet, so removing everything mostly consists of unhooking bungee cords and just dragging everything out. One of the things I removed was my cooler, which I discovered I had left cans of soda in that exploded in the heat. So I washed it out with a garden hose, but I won't be taking this cooler with me on tonight's camp. While unloading the van, I noticed that the trim had peeled off of my table. This is an IKEA tabletop, and the glue holding the trim literally melted in the summer heat. This is a temporary solution. I do plan to build something to put here, but for the time being, what I decided to do was re-glue the trim using some Gorilla Glue. Again, I do plan to replace this, but I kind of need it for tonight's camp. The next step was reinserting the carpet mat that I had purchased. I figured this would be enough to protect me from the elements, and if you believe that, I hope you watch this entire video. Once the carpet was in, it was just a matter of putting everything back in the van, but I also did some upgrades and projects along the way to make tonight's camp a little bit better. One of the things I did was glue magnets to the side of my blackout curtains. This way I can stretch the curtains to the very edges of the van and make sure they stick to the walls to prevent any light from leaking out. I used Gorilla's equivalent of super glue on this project, and let me tell you, it will stick your fingers together really fast. Another thing I purchased were these USB rechargeable puck lights. Now, I had some puck lights before and they were okay, but these I love. These are USB-C rechargeable. They're also RGB, so they will do a million colors. They come with remotes, which my other ones didn't have. I just really like these much more than the old ones. The final thing I added to the van, which I showed in my previous video, was this storage cabinet, which I built out of scrap wood, painted, and installed in the van. Earlier in the day, I decided to drive over to the courthouse and check out the parking lot. As you can see, it is full of city-owned white vehicles, and my white van, parked at the end of those vehicles, blends right in. I don't anticipate any problems with tonight's camp. What could possibly go wrong?
Are you nervous?
I'm nervous. I'm not nervous about getting caught because I think it's such a good spot.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because it's going to be below zero.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow tonight, right? Right.
I got Mr. Buddy Heater.
Right, and you're eating warm food tonight, so you're not going to be freezing. Yeah.
Back at the house, I was packed up and ready to go. My wife, who was worried about the temperature, gave me multiple blankets and insisted I take my Mr. Buddy Heater, even though I had never used it before and didn't plan on using it this night. I mean, how cold could it possibly get inside this van? My wife followed me to the parking lot, and before she left, we tested to see how the blackout curtains would actually work. On this first test, we just walked around the van. I didn't even have the curtains completely closed, and you can't hardly see anything inside the van. Next, we drove past the van with the curtains completely attached with the magnets, and all my puck lights turned on, and you can't see anything. I am set and ready to go. What's up, everybody? It's Big Rob. and I am in the van right now. I am doing a stealth camp right in front of the city courthouse. I am surrounded by white city vehicles. There's a white van 2 spots away from me. There's a white pickup over there. There's another white car. When I drove by, I was like, I can't resist trying to pull this off. My van is just about as stealth as it can get. It is a plain white van. There's no markings on the outside. I tried the old trick. My wife bought me a hard hat, which I have sitting on the dash, and I have a yellow safety vest. I didn't put it out there. It's sitting right here next to me. I might put it in the front seat. I don't know. It's so brand new. It looks like a costume, you know. So I don't know if I'll put that out there or not. But it is 8 o'clock. It is 8 p.m. right now, and according to the weather forecast, it's going to rain for the next 3 hours, and then it's gonna snow. My computer says it's 33 degrees right now. So what a great night I picked to do this, but I couldn't resist. I drove by here, I saw the cars out there, and I was like, I gotta try it. So I brought a lot of little projects to work on tonight. Some of them are computer projects, and some are different things. I won't show you all. It would just be boring, you know. But here's one of the projects that I brought to work on. I mean, this isn't really a project. How do you lose something in 60 square feet? This is a carbon monoxide detector. Now, I just, on my list of my favorite things, I said that I had one and I loved it, and I had this second one that I hadn't opened. But actually, I forgot that I gave the first one away. I had a friend that said they needed a carbon monoxide detector, and I gave that one to them. I was like, hey, I've got a spare. So I haven't opened this one up yet or set it up, but that's one of my things that I plan to do. So I brought this pair of scissors. This is exciting van life entertainment right here. And I have brought some rechargeable batteries. I don't know if it comes with batteries. And literally, I didn't buy this one. This one was a gift. And immediately I see a plug on the back. So I could plug this into my Fakery battery. I don't know if this one will also use. It doesn't seem like it would use batteries or a plug. So I may just plug it in for the night, because I've also brought my Mr. Buddy heater. Now, I have never used my Mr. Buddy heater before. Before I left the house tonight, we attached the propane tank and we started it just to make sure it worked. So we started it in the house. We saw it run for 10 seconds and I went, okay, it works. We watched a video on YouTube of how to start. I mean, it's very simple. And so the weather forecast says tonight it may get down to about 25. Now, I'm not a good planner. My wife was a lifelong Girl Scout. She was a Girl Scout growing up. Then she was a Girl Scout troop leader. Now she volunteers for the Girl Scout Council. So when I told her I was about to go camp and that it would be below freezing, she packed 42 blankets in this van. Okay, that's an exaggeration, not 42. But I believe there's a sleeping bag in here. There is a quilt in here. There is a blanket to lay on in here. And I have the Mr. Buddy heater. So I will not go cold tonight. This is my first stealth camp in not perfect condition weather. If you go back and look on YouTube, I did one stealth camp where it was basically an abandoned parking lot. I parked there overnight. I didn't see anybody leaving. I didn't see anybody coming in the morning. It was very, very simple. And I've also slept in this van in my driveway. But this is my first, I don't want to say it's my first real stealth camp, but like I'm downtown. I'm parked at the courthouse. Like there's, I don't think I'm going to get the knock if I'll show you some footage of what this looks like from outside, but it looks so, I blend in so well. I just can't imagine. Also, it's Saturday night, so I don't think there will be any city employees here tonight, or I don't think anybody will be here till Monday. Now, I will say this, the lights are all on in the building. The lights are on over there when I pulled in, and the lights, I haven't checked because I'm following the rules, stealth cape. I'm not sticking my head out. I haven't peeked out or anything, but the lights in the building, you know what we'll do? We'll peek out here in just a second and see if the lights in the building are still on. But there were definitely people in the building when I pulled up. So we'll do a heat check here in a minute, and we'll check that. And while then after we do that, I'm going to see if I can get this carbon monoxide detector to see if it uses battery, if I can get it to use batteries, or if I'm going to have to plug it in. Somebody's getting into the car that was parked next to me. I can hear somebody talking. I just heard him shut the door. But I'm too scared to go look. Also, if someone comes and wants to know what I'm doing, it's gonna be difficult to explain I'm a normal person while I'm wearing these gloves. Now I hear Now I hear police sirens. Can you hear that? It's getting louder. No, drove by. Jesus God. Oh, I'm terrified. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, the lights that were on that were inside are now all off. So that's good. You can still see the traffic over there on Main Street. And now you can see the windows starting to freeze because it is now 31 degrees and the rain is turning into sleet. Oh boy. All right. It's almost 9 o'clock. I got my laptop going here. The carbon monoxide detector is plugged in. It's in a power strip running down here to the old fakery battery. And I brought my thermostat, or my thermometer. It's an indoor-outdoor thermometer, but I left the outdoor part at home. So I only have the inside temperature, but the inside temperature in here right now is 43 degrees. I don't know what you think about 43 degrees, but I'll tell you that my feet are getting a little cold. So as you can see, I have not insulated my van yet. And if I'm going to do this too many times out in the cold, that will be the next project. I've done lots of other projects. Hey, there's the cabinet, the cabinet that I got finished. I do have, I brought a project to put up here. I painted some little hexagon shelves, and I may put those up, but it may be too cold to do that, so I don't know that I'll be doing that. You can see that I've brought everything. I brought these little tubs to store things in the cabinet over there, so that will be convenient. There's my safety vest that I didn't, is it? Yeah, the safety vest is up here. I didn't put that in the front. It's a little too new. It looks a little too much like a costume. The other thing is, I ran into this problem last time and I forgot, but I'm doing it again. But I've got to get some sort of trash solution in here because, I seem to generate a lot of trash. I don't know about other people that are camping in their cars, but and maybe this is my newness to camping in the car. But I seem to be generating a lot of trash. And I never have anywhere to put it, so I'm constantly just putting it in a pile in the corner and then emptying it out when I get home. Also, right before I came here, we stopped by OnQ, the gas station, and we got a large coffee, and I put it in this Buc-ee's tumbler, which the outside of this thing is freezing cold, but I've been here a couple hours, and the inside, the coffee is still piping hot, which is keeping me warm in this van where the temperature is rapidly dropping inside here. And I know that I was kind of resistant to the idea of using the Mr. Buddy heater, but I know that I will be using it before this night is over based on how my feet feel. Also, I'm wearing the world's thinnest socks and a pair of tennis shoes. So I'm learning some lessons the hard way, and one lesson would be probably wear some heavier socks, like some wool socks or something, and maybe even some boots or something like that. So I don't have any of that. So all I have right now is coffee to keep me warm. Also, I haven't been doing this long enough. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys have never camped out in your car. I've slept in my car before. I used to take road trips all over the country, and it didn't bother me at all. I would just pull into a hotel parking lot or a casino parking lot, and I had a Chevy Avalanche truck. It was real heavily tinted, so you couldn't see in the back seats anyway. And then I had this black comforter that I would take with me, and I would just throw it over. I'd just be snug as a bug. I'd just sleep in the back seat, kind of in the fetal position. And, it wasn't the world's most comfortable sleep, but it didn't bother me. I was younger then. I had a good back. I didn't care about sleeping in a car seat. It felt good. Now, I have layers of mattresses below me here, and blankets and quilts and pillows. I got soft, man. When you get old, it's easy to get soft, and so, but anyway, I haven't done it in a long time, and one of the things that I'd forgotten is you have to get used to that, especially if you're stealth camping. This is stealth camping, you got to get used to the sounds of the city, and it's easy. And of course, I talk a mean game, but it's easy to say you just get used to it. But man, when you hear a car door that's near you, I heard a car door earlier, a car next to me, one of the city employees, I think, got in that truck and left. And I turned all these lights out. When you turn these lights out, and I covered up the laptop screen, it is dark. It is pitch black in here. I got blackout curtains in the front. I got my blackout window blockers here in the back. So it is pitch black. I sat in here for like 5 minutes in the silence, just sitting there waiting to see if I heard anything else, and even where I am now, this parking lot is, there's a street. There's a street on one side, and there's kind of an alley on the other side. But I've heard cars, every minute or two, a car goes by. And so, for the first hour, every time a car goes by, you look, you see, are they coming this way? Is it something that way? There's a building not too far to my left, and the county or the city courthouse is to the right. So there's no real traffic directly in front of me or directly behind me. It's mostly to either side, but and the main street is in front of me, and that's where I keep hearing police sirens and ambulance sirens, and I suspect there may be more as the temperature drops. If the roads freeze, then there could be some accidents. I hate to think about that, but that's definitely a possibility. So, but you do just got to get to this town, the town I live in is such a small town that, it is really, it's like 30,000 people. So it's a pretty small town, relatively speaking, So when we go, like when I went to New York City, we got this hotel room, and all night long was cars driving, honking, garbage trucks and delivery trucks, and that sort of stuff. And went there for a work trip, and the next day I went into work, and I was like, man, I got to change hotels. It was so noisy. I just heard this stuff all night, and everybody there started laughing at me, and they go, what hotel in New York City do you think's not like that? They go, that's what New York City sounds like. It sounds like stuff happening 24/7, you know? And I was like, it's a valid point, you know? And so, even though this is a smaller town, this isn't, I wouldn't quite describe this as a town that, you know, the old saying, like, where they roll up the carpets at 9 o'clock. It's not quite like that, especially since it's a Saturday night, so there'll be people out tonight, you know. But it's not like during the week. You know, if you're out, when I was a kid, if you were out past 10 o'clock and you got pulled over, and I was like, how did they know we were up to something? Well, because we were kids and we were out past 10 o'clock, and that would get you pulled over in this town. So, now that I'm older and I don't drive, you know, my first couple of cars were a sporty little Mustang and a Formula Firebird, and I got pulled over all the time. Now I'm in a cargo van. Nobody's going to mess with me in this, you know. But yeah, you even though it is a small town, it's you still got the sounds of the city. It's a smaller city, but there's still city sounds. There's still sirens. There's still cars. You know, there's still things happening. There's just less here, but it's way more than it is, you know, from my neighborhood. I can hear, I don't know if you heard that, you probably couldn't hear that on the camera, but there's church bells going off. It just turned 9 o'clock. I was like, I just heard something. Being in a, hold on. Probably wasn't the brightest thing to do to pull my shade down and do that without checking to see if anybody's out there. But anyway, I will say that, you know, part of the reason I wanted to do this is I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts about van life, not just van life, where I fit into van life, you know. There are people that are in van life. There are people doing van life out of necessity. And there are people doing van life out of luxury. And I'm definitely by choice person. I have a sticks and bricks house I will never get rid of. And so everything that I have, I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Everything that I have, I worked for. I didn't inherit money. I did, you know, when my wife and I were married, I had just left, I was delivering pizzas, and I just quit pizzas, delivering pizzas, and started working for Best Buy. And so, like, there were a lot of years where we didn't have a lot of stuff. We had less than a lot of stuff. There was the summer that we got married, that my wife and I got married, which was a long time ago. It was in the 90s. But the summer that we got married, there's a car going by the parking lot. The summer that we got married, I ended up in between jobs, and we got our electricity cut off. And it was in the middle of the summer. I think our air conditioner broke, and I had a friend loan me some money, and my dad loaned us some money. We were so broke, you know. And my dad worked overnight, this graveyard shift overnight. And we would wait for him to go to work, and my wife and I would go to his house and go through the pantry and, like, dig out ramen noodles from the back of the pantry, and we would sit over at his house and cook ramen noodles just so we could have a meal at the end of the night. And don't get me wrong, we weren't destitute. We weren't, you know, gonna be, you know, homeless or anything like that, you know. But we were broke. We were super broke. And so for the past 20-something years, 25 years, things have been pretty good. Man, I got a good job, you know. My wife got a good job, and we worked hard. We worked really super hard. We worked a lot of nights. We worked a lot of weekends. We worked our 40 hours a week, and sometimes we worked our 50 hours a week, and sometimes we worked more than that. Everything that we have, we paid for, you know. Everything that, like, nobody gave us anything. And this isn't like a hard luck story. You know, all things considered, we've had it pretty good, you know. But everybody has their reasons for van life. Everybody has their reasons for car camping and going out and doing things. And I watch channels, you know, and I mean, I know I'm camping with Steve, and I mean, all of them. I'm not name drop all of them, you know. But I watch them, and everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own thing. And for me, I don't really know what that story is, except for I know that when I wake up in the morning in my house, I will have had a good night's sleep. I will have slept in a comfortable bed in a house with a comfortable temperature. I will have breakfast, something to eat in the pantry, in the refrigerator. I will have all the things at my disposal. My computer will be there, ready to go. The TV, when I go in there, I'll turn on the TV. Like everything that I could ever want, really, is all there, ready to go, waiting for me. And so maybe in one sense, I want to come do this. It's not hard in the sense that, I mean, there are people that have it hard, and this is not having it hard. But it is uncomfortable at the moment. It is challenging a little bit at the moment. It's challenging to build the van. It's challenging to go do the stuff. And again, I don't want to take my status, I don't know the right word, for granted, right? Like I had the ability, I had saved up and bought a motorcycle. I sold the motorcycle and paid for this van, but not everybody has the ability to do that. Not that I did it overnight. I mean, I paid for a motorcycle over a long time and then sold it and then bought this. But the point I'm getting at is that, you know, sometimes when you sit at home, like, to get bored says something about yourself. There's so much to do in this world. There's so many things to see. There's so many places to go. I have so many things I want to see, so many places I want to go, things I want to write, things I want to take pictures of, things I want to experience. And a lot of those things can't be done sitting at home in a comfortable house on the couch. And so maybe this is my way of just remembering where I came from. I mean, I don't want to make this sound like some big, deep thing. This isn't some big, deep thing. But maybe I just want to remind myself, like, it's easy to forget how good you have it if you don't challenge yourself. If you're not, you know, stretching yourself, just like a muscle, man. If you're not stretching your muscle, then they atrophy, you know? And so maybe that's what I'm doing here. Maybe I'm trying to figure out. Maybe I'm talking myself through this and trying to figure out what I'm doing here. If you know what I'm doing here, leave it in the comments and let me know. I'm very cold and confused at the moment. Something I don't talk about a lot is that I have a CPAP. It's not that I'm embarrassed about it, but I'm not particularly proud of the situation, you know. But I've had a CPAP for nearly 20 years now, and I will tell you that I had such bad sleep problems that I went to a sleep study, right, like early on when CPAPs were, just kind of groundbreaking things. Like I didn't know anybody else that had a CPAP, I don't think, at the time when I went and had a CPAP test. This was like early 2000s. And my oxygen levels got so low during my first sleep test that they had to come wake me up. Back then, they would give you 2 nights. So you stayed overnight one night and they monitored you, and then you came back the second night and they did the CPAP test. But mine was so bad that they woke me up the first night and they were like, we have to put you on oxygen. My oxygen level got down to 69. And that was happening every day, which is not good for your brain. Starving your brain of oxygen is not good. If you're not familiar with CPAP and sleep apnea, one of the things they do is they measure how many events you have per hour. And the events are when you stop breathing. And I had 130 events an hour. So that's more than 2 a minute. It was really, really bad. I was always tired. I was falling asleep at work. I fell asleep when I was driving home. It was terrible. And I got a CPAP, changed my life overnight. Maybe 2 days, 3 days. But by the time, that I was using it, it changed everything. And I would say I could probably count on one hand the number of nights I have not slept with a CPAP in the past 15 years. I sleep with it every single night. And so my CPAP is right here. Now, I did just recently buy a new power supply. Now, I did recently just buy a new power supply for my CPAP, and it is a 12-volt power supply. So I can plug it right into the car's dash, into your 12-volt, your cigarette lighter adapter, or the 12-volt adapter on my Fakery battery. But to be honest with you, I just don't think it saves that much power. I mean, you're taking basically 12 volts and you're converting it, to 120 and then converting it back down. But this is already converting it. So I don't know, and sometime I should probably do an experiment and let it run for an hour with one power supply with the 12 volt and then do it another hour off of 110 and see what the difference is. But I brought that 12 volt power supply, but it's in one of the bags, honestly, and I've got like 4 bags in here. I've got piles of stuff on the floor, and I'm just not going to mess with it. And my normal power supply is in here with my CPAP. So if you have a CPAP, you can do van life. You're going to need a battery, and I will take a look at what my battery life is before I go to bed tonight, and we'll look at it in the morning and see what percentage of my Fakery battery got run down. This is a 1,000 watt hour battery, so it's pretty hefty. And if I remember right, I don't know. We'll see in the morning what it's at. But the battery right now is at 93%. So I believe when I did, I figured I could run it like 3 or 4 nights just off of that. So I'm not worried about that. But if you use a CPAP at home and you're thinking about, sleeping in a van or worrying, is it possible? Absolutely possible. My only concern tonight, and fortunately, this has a heater which heats the hose and heats the water, which takes a lot more energy. Running the heater runs a lot more electricity than just running the CPAP itself. And sometimes if I were trying to save electricity, I might turn that off, but it's going to be below freezing. I hope it's not below freezing in my van tonight, but I don't want to take a chance of anything of this freezing. So definitely the heater will be on this tonight. It's down to about 37 degrees in here tonight, so I'm about to bundle up for the night. I do want to show you that my wife got me this, or loaned me her thermal sleeping bag. I've got this laying on a blanket, which is on top of my normal mattresses. Here's my pile of pillows over here. And then on top of that, I've got this fleece kind of flannel thing. And then I have this quilt that my grandma made me. My grandma used to make quilts, and she made me a couple of different quilts that I still have to this day. So, I have one quilt that she made me that the pattern is sailboats, and I call it the sailboat quilt. And I don't use it. It's kind of thin. It's kind of worn out. She gave it to me when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I've had it my whole life. You know, it's a little thin. It's a little worn out or whatever, but it is one of my most treasured memories, one of my most treasured possessions. But this is another one that she made me, and I don't like the pattern on this one as much. I've always loved my sailboat quilt. But you know, things like this, like something that I'm having to deal with mentally, is a lot of times I got gifts or I got things and I didn't want them to wear out, and I would never use them. And so the joy for me was hanging on to those things forever. But now I realize as I get older, the joy is in using them. The joy, that's where the love is. The love isn't getting a quilt and keeping it forever and never using it. It's using it. And so I've got my grandma's quilt with me here tonight. I could not really feel the ends of my fingers anymore, so I have brought some actual regular gloves, so I'm getting ready to shut this down and bundle up in my little bed spot here and get everything all set up. Also, at night I normally sleep with my iPad or tab. Now I have an Android tablet, but I normally sleep with something playing. And this is not a plug, but Pluto TV is one of those services that stream stuff all the time, and they have an Unsolved Mysteries channel, and I love the show Unsolved Mysteries. I mean, I'm a retro guy. If you know me from other stuff, you know that I'm into retro. I've written books about retro computers, and I do a podcast about old video games, and I stream old video games and fun. So I'm very 80s guy. I'm very retro kind of guy, and there's something soothing about Unsolved Mysteries. I mean, there's a lot of shows on Pluto. There's old Bob Barker episodes of Price is Right, and there's old game shows and old TV shows and stuff like that. So there's lots of old things on there to watch that are all fun, to watch. But there's something about Unsolved Mysteries that has always just been kind of a soothing thing for me. And so I've got on my other phone, I've got Unsolved Mysteries streaming, which I will be listening to as I go to sleep. I forgot my tablet. I charged my tablet up. I mean, if you could see all the things that I brought, I have so many things for a one-night stay in a parking lot, and yet I forgot my tablet, which is my primary source of entertainment that I had planned for the evening. So kind of dumb move on my part, but that's okay. I've got my phone, and I'll stream Unsolved Mysteries on that as I freeze off to sleep here very shortly.
Of the 30 or 40 individuals with Janine's profile, many of them also report having the ability to influence objects at a distance. The experiences such as light bulbs exploding around them, radios failing, glass breaking.
I didn't do this as a child. It developed as I became an adult. There were several incidents where things actually exploded in my hands.
It's
I think my father was in shock still.
3:45.
Like when I look back now,
I can see my breath in the van. It's cold.
when you talk to him,
And so I just lit the Mr. Buddy heater. My thermometer is just off. It won't turn on. It's too cold. I think they killed the batteries. So we're gonna let the Mr. Buddy heater run for a minute, try to warm up this van. We're gonna see how long it takes on high.
I think my dad was really hurt. But I think at the time too, my dad felt like it was
Come on, Mr. Buddy. Be my buddy. I need my buddy to warm me.
Your Honor, a representative of the Children's Aid Society.
On October 25th, 1969, Sandra's mother was
So it's been about 10 minutes, and it is warmer than it was. Warm is not the word, but warmer. It's not. It's in the high 30s in here now. But turning on the Mr. Buddy heater has created a new experience, which is I just noticed that there's ice all over the inside of the van on the metal. It's probably from condensation from my breath, but it is now thawing, and so it's now essentially raining inside the van. As you can see, there are. So I keep hearing these things, these little. I was hearing these sounds that would sound like popping, but it is drops of water falling off the inside. I don't know if you can see this here, but it's all soaking wet. And now the drops, it's literally raining inside the van. Did you hear that? I heard it. What a bad idea. This is a terrible idea. I'm not going to say it was cold last night, but not only are my windows frozen, but when I open the door, the trim is frozen to the inside of the van, so that's going to be a problem. Back at home, I discovered where I set down the can of Coke I was going to take. After a warm meal and a hot cup of coffee at IHOP, it was time to head home. Didn't take long before both I and the van had thawed out, and I was able to unload everything out of the van. Were lessons learned? Yes. Should I have worn wool socks and heavier duty shoes? Yes. The bigger lesson is I've got to add some insulation and walls to the van. Something on the walls, something on the ceiling, something to keep that layer of cold out. The Mr. Buddy heater did a pretty good job, but I don't want to rely on that long term. I want to be able to bundle up with a sleeping bag and some blankets and hunker down in the cold. So, yeah, lessons were learned, but the biggest lesson is that I survived. I was able to do it, and I will do it again.